Every now and then we gather here in this admittedly terrifying enclave. In a long-standing tradition, we'll bear witness to a rather unsettling series of events, and in just a very short time, you'll understand why this story is called The Stuff of Nightmares, which, by the way, is always in stock here on the Nightfall radio show. I wanted to share the story of my dogman sighting, and before anybody asks, I'll give a very general idea of the location, but nothing specific. I've noticed on social media that whenever dogman sightings are reported, there's an idiotic frenzy to try and find out the exact location of the encounter. If any of those people had a real idea about what they're dealing with, they'd never ask. I have told a few of my friends, and they mostly said I must have misidentified whatever I saw. That's sky-high bullshit. Anyway, I'm sharing this with the general public for the first time. So here it is. I was staying in the Catskill Mountains in New York State for a few days. I'd booked an Airbnb with my girlfriend where we could bring our dog, who's a 100-pound German Shepherd. Now, the Airbnb was a strange RV that was converted and expanded into a cabin. The place was far away from any other houses and on a back road which was basically on the side of a mountain with an amazing view. I had 2 fire pits. One was right next to the cabin, and the other was about 800 feet away on the top of a hill. The last night we were there, we were having one last fire at the hilltop fire pit. We had a great view of the mountain range, cornfields on one side and the other side set up against the wood line. We had our dog off the leash. He's very well mannered, and we were playing some music on a Bluetooth speaker. Our dog kept looking towards the wood line, and it was kind of freaking my girlfriend out. We would occasionally turn off the music and just listen to see if we could hear anything. I also had a small LED flashlight and would scan the woods with it, looking for any animal eye shine it might pick up. Well, after a little bit, my dog jumped up to his feet and started full force aggressively growling at the woods, which was out of character for him. Just when I was getting up and turning the music off, the dog darted toward the woods, maintaining his high alert status. He juked left, and I heard something take a few steps back in response. I was able to call him back to me right away, at which point he crept back, keeping his eyes locked on something. As my girlfriend grabbed and held the dog's collar, I stepped closer into the woods with my flashlight and small knife in hand. In hindsight, that was a stupid-ass thing to do. As I was scanning the woods with my flashlight, I picked up a set of eyes, which looked and sounded a lot further back than we'd heard the steps. Now, these eyes were glowing like a dog's eyes in the light of my LED, but the height was what threw me off. It was too tall to be any animal I would expect to see, a raccoon, coyote, skunk, etc. It was easily above my eye level. I figured it must have been a black bear. Now, I know that black bears are very skittish around people, and especially dogs, unless they're protecting their young, so none of that shit was adding up in my head. I sat there for a solid 3 or 4 minutes trying to focus on what it was. And that's when it stood up, giving me a pretty good look at it. I remember saying, "God damn, that's not a bear." This thing looked like a huge wolf, but standing on 2 legs and easily a foot taller than me. I'm right at 6 feet. I told my girlfriend to turn that damn music off and started walking back to her without turning from the woods. I told her that we needed to get the hell out of there and back to the cabin, like, right now. She started dragging our dog back to the cabin, and my dog and I had our eyes fixed on the woods. As soon as my flashlight went off the creature, it started following alongside of us in the wood line. The footsteps I heard sounded just like a person walking in the woods as it followed us. Then I heard other things walking around in the woods. We got inside the cabin, locked the door, and shut all the blinds, and were completely freaked the fuck out. I spent the next hour or so listening and watching out of the window, hoping the animal would walk into the spotlight of the cabin so I could get another look at it. I never saw anything step out, but the sound of the footsteps continued behind the cabin in the woods. I stepped out of the door about an hour or two later, but heard nothing and searched with my flashlight. Now, the fact that this thing was not afraid of my dog was very unsettling, and I've never seen my dog act like that before or since. My dog will chase rabbits and even deer without making a sound. Plus, he always comes back to me when I call him. I've spent a lot of time outdoors in my life, and I've always been able to identify any animal that I encountered. I've asked a lot of my hunting friends about this and asked what, if any, animal would react like that and not instantly run away from a dog of his size. And they didn't give any useful answers. At the time of the encounter, I'd never heard of dogman, so of course it didn't even cross my mind during the sighting. But then I started researching it online. Let me tell you something. I don't care how interested you are in this subject. It doesn't matter how deep off you're into this or what your level of fascination is. It doesn't matter how hungry you are to consume as much information about it as you can. This creature, whatever it is and wherever it comes from, is the stuff of nightmares.